Hello everyone, today I'm going to explain 5 technical questions from the CCNA exam. Let's start with the first question. Well, this one is actually a pretty tricky configuration. What it's asking us to do is, for all interfaces, what is this question really testing? It's testing this configuration. Basically, it's a lab question. It's not about having us analyze or waste time looking at these basic configuration commands. Many configuration commands are already included in there. They're all preset, meaning all interfaces are already configured. What it means is that all interfaces are set to full duplex. And also, this is an MA network, a broadcast network, a BMA network. So, which of the following configurations would allow these two routers to establish an OSPF neighbor relationship? And it says OSPF v2, which actually supports IPv4. This is the one we normally use. OSPF v2 is for IPv4, while OSPF v3 is used for IPv6, so here there's only one option. They threw in a red herring just to confuse us. They emphasized this VR just to throw us off. So there are actually too many configuration commands here, but the correct answer is A. First, you enter this interface, right? Enter the F00 interface, then configure the IP address. The IP address I planned here is 10.73.65.64 for this subnet, right? This is a 30 subnet, and we've encountered similar questions before. Since it's a 30 subnet, this 64 subnet has two possible addresses. One is 65, and the other is 66, right? So here, I'll just configure 65. Then set the OSPF priority, and these are all questions we've seen before. So I won't go into detail on this one. These configurations are all basic. Then start an OSPF process and assign a router ID. Then announcing the address just means announcing the address behind us, right? Similarly, for this 86 device, you do the same operation as above. Just go through these configurations, and if there are no issues, that's it. Choose A. The correct answer is A. Answer. All right, let's look at the second question. The second question is what I would call a real question, like a written exam question. At this point, this is the company's situation. There's a branch office, right? So a data packet from the branch office is being sent to the headquarters. It's being sent to the host at 172.31.0.1, and then you need to see which of the following routing entries it matches, right? This is also a longest prefix match. Look, 3131, 0.31, 031.0. So which one is the longest prefix match? It's the one with a 25 mask. This one isn't tricky either, so the correct answer is C.
We've seen this type of question before as well. It's also very simple, just like this. It's about configuring OSPF.
The basic configuration of OSPF. So configuring this router, router 2, so that it forms a connection with router 2. Which commands must be implemented to establish this neighbor relationship? The correct answer is C. That is, I start a process and advertise my internal 10.10.0.0016 network. I'm announcing a large network segment, an A-class large network, right? Then I use a wildcard mask of 0.3 and advertise it to area 0. Then I announce another one. This is the network segment that connects us. What does this large network segment mean? This network segment is the one I'm advertising. This is a 30, right? What's the subnet mask for a 30? 252, right? There are only two usable addresses. One is 1 and the other is 2. So I advertise this just to establish a neighbor relationship. And then I advertise the network segment behind me, which refers to this network segment, right? It's like connecting these two IP phones and the host below. All of them are advertised. So the correct answer is C.
All right, question 4.
So for question 4, it's asking, for the second one, which configurations do we need to make in order for 222 to become the secondary? Now they've already specified who the secondary is. It's 21B and the secondary is 23, right? Because of their priority or their role, basically. At this point, they've chosen these two, but now we want to make one become the secondary. Just assign it a higher priority for the designated route, give it a priority of 100, and that's enough, right? So to make this R2 become the secondary, just set its priority to 100, which will be higher than the others. All right, the correct answer is A.
Okay, question 5. Question 5.
So this router 1, this diagram isn't very clear either. I'm not really sure. I drew a diagram for this, but it's not very clear either. However, I can enlarge it a bit, make it a bit bigger. What it means is that this is router 1, router 2. 1 is here, 2 is here. Then we need to configure router 1. And as for routers 2 and 3, they've already been configured for this new environment. These two have already been set up. The one we need to configure is this 21. Then in order for this particular personal computer, PC1, to be able to successfully join which specific network, to join the 10.10.10.0.24 network, which exact command must be carefully entered on router 1, R1. '21 refers to this device here. What commands do we need to configure on it? First of all, for this 21, I need to be able to access the area on the right? I need to be able to reach the area on the right, which means I need to configure a route to the 10.10.10.0 network. And as for the next hop, it should go through this. It's called 23.3, and it also goes through this upper path through 22 to get there. Then I'll configure another route to the area on the left. That is, I'll add another route to the right area. This is called a floating static route, which means I'll add a. Let me take a look at this configuration. One route goes through 2 through 192.168.2.2. So for this, I'll just configure two static routes, right? One goes through this, through RR. One goes through this, 2 and 3. This way, redundancy is achieved. Redundancy means that if one fails, the other can still carry the traffic. That's the basic idea, right? So this question is a multiple choice question, and the correct answers are A and E. Right? The correct answers are A and E.
Comparison. To learn Cisco technologies or access Cisco question banks, send me a private message. You can also comment below for technical discussions.